You're listening to Give Yourself Some Leeway with me, your host, Eugene Lee. I've spent the last 4 years trying to discover how to break the burnout cycle, and as a high achiever in a fast-paced world, I know how easy it is to slip back into old habits, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and left behind. If you're anything like me, then you need to hear this. Burning out is not your fault. Yes, you can recover from burnout. And the post-burnout growth is not only real, but it feels amazing. This podcast is dedicated to helping break the stigma around mental health in the workplace, ending burnout culture for good, and the action steps that you can take today towards your personal growth and success. So let's do it. Good morning and welcome to my new storeroom studio here in Basel, filled with church bells, planes passing overhead, and birdsong. Lovely ambient noises in the background. But I guess it's a step up from the car office that I used for my first 15 or 20 recordings back in Ireland. Today I'm joined by Blanca E Rodriguez, owner of Wounded Healer, co-author of Impact Leadership, licensed massage therapist and canine massage therapist. And today we talk about how having that mindset shift and focusing on self-awareness and self-compassion can help to prevent burnout and improve your quality of life at any age. I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation because it brings us one step closer to ending burnout culture for good. Blanca, welcome to Give Yourself Some Leeway, and thank you so much for taking the time to join the show today.
Oh, thank you so much, Eugene, for having me. What an honor and a joy it is for me to be here.
Blanca. I keep on getting that mixed up every single time. I was like, it's Blanca, it's Blanca. When it comes to burnout, and I know you have a burnout story to share also, but one of the things I find it so important for guests to share their story on the podcast is that burnout is a conversation that we need to normalize more, talking about our mental health. And it's something that it's kind of like a double-edged sword where people feel that being stressed and busy all the time is like a badge of honor, that they're made feel more important if they're always stressed or always on demand. But if they ever feel overwhelmed or burnt out, they feel that they can't share that with people because that's seen as, oh, you're obviously not resilient enough, or you're not managing your stress well enough. And they feel that either they are being shunned or they feel they would be shunned if they were to share that side of themselves. So that's why I find it really important, and I commend people who can share their story on the podcast. So what was your burnout story like for you?
My burnout story goes back many, many years, definitely. I'm from Puerto Rican Latino culture, and in the Latino culture, women, especially women, we are supposed to put ourselves second. We're supposed to put everybody before us. And that is a big problem for a lot of women in the Latino community, because we're supposed to be doing so much more than anybody else. And my burnout story took years in the making. I'm a massage therapist. I have worked on tens of thousands of people in this amazing career that I do, but I was a single mother of two. I was in a very destructive, abusive relationship with the father of my kids, unfortunately. And I had a lot on my shoulders. I was taking care of 8, 9 people in one day, and it was 9 hours of massage continuously for years and years and years. I wanted to do more and more and more for everybody until the time came that I just couldn't do it anymore. I went into a panic attack. My stress levels were so high up there that I couldn't think straight. I was driving, I couldn't even drive anymore. I had to park my car. My kids were in the back seat. And I said, I need somebody to drive me home because I am putting myself and my kids in danger. And it was like a snap. It was 1, 2, 3. I just cannot take this stress anymore. I started hyperventilating. I felt horrifically. I went 1 week to sleep. And it wasn't sleeping, it was get up, go to the bathroom, eat something, and keep on sleeping. I let go of taking care of my kids. The father of my ex-partner did whatever he could do under his circumstances. And this is what brought me to this huge burnout. And it was overdoing, believing that whatever I was doing wasn't enough. And mentally, that started affecting me at such a level that when my burnout came and I went through that space where I just physically, emotionally, and mentally couldn't do more, I went even further down in that rabbit hole because then I felt frustrated. I felt like I was failing someone. I felt as I was failing myself because I wasn't doing enough. I was still wasn't doing enough when, as a matter of fact, I was overdoing everything. When I went to rest because my body couldn't take it anymore, that was the moment when I said to myself, something has to change. I have to improve my ways of how I do my self-care because it's very easy for a lot of people, and especially people like me that we are in the service industry. We are here to help others improve their quality of life and do better for themselves. But if I didn't apply it to me, which I wasn't applying it to myself, it was like words going on deaf ears. And that was the worst part. And it was a tricky situation because then the mind tricks come in. It's like, oh my God, I've been, I mean, practicing good quality of life on others and all of these people when the one person that needed it the most, it was me all along. After that episode that it took me a week and honestly it felt like a year, I said to myself, I have to find ways, I will find ways to improve because I know the tools, I just need to get them into proper use. And for, I mean, there in us community of women, we put so much pressure on ourselves because we never find that it's enough for us because there's always something else to do, there's always something more to give. And in, I mean, I am sure that so many of us like me are out there saying, oh my God, yes, I burned myself down to the ground and I was the only one who could have the strength and the will to pick up the pieces and pick myself up. And that's exactly what I started doing immediately after that episode. And yes, there are stressful situations, there's stressful moments, but how we handle stress, how we handle these emotions on a daily basis to keep that harmony that all of us so very much need and deserve, that makes the whole difference in the world. And it happens to people of all ages. My daughter, she's 22 years old, she just graduated college, and she puts herself under such pressure that I continuously say to her, it's like, you find your harmony, find to rest, because rest is as important as everything else that we do in life. That is a fact.
Yeah, I think that's something that people forget, that burnout can happen at any age. And they're like,
Exactly.
oh, it happened. You have to be a CEO, you have to be in your 40s or C-suite or somewhere in your career, so long in your career before you can take that break. And I've had a guest before and they asked for a sabbatical. They were working in a law firm and they were looking for a sabbatical after 6 months in the firm. And they were like, look, I just need to go home. My family are sick and I need to go and take care of them for a month,
Yeah.
and it was just too much pressure, too much stress. And
Mhm.
they were told, oh no, most people in this job don't take their sabbatical until they're at least 18 to 24 months.
Oh my God.
Until so it's like until it really becomes a problem, then you get to
Mhm.
take your sabbatical, rather than her taking the preventive care and being so self-aware that she needed that for her own mental health and for her own mental state.
Of
Because
course.
how can you make like executive decision making if
Mhm.
your mind is so clouded, so stressed that you cannot even function at the most basic things in your life? How can you go on to make executive decisions that could affect so many other people? And
That's right.
it's just that awareness that if we can't function at a basic level and take care of ourselves, how can we start to take care of others?
That's right. That's right. I believe that prevention is the one word and the one action that can really save so many people from so much worse. Self-care is the best care. Here in the US, I can tell you this. I was doing some research not long ago. 50 to 75% of all doctors' visits. This is one of the most unhealthiest nations in the world, in my honest opinion. So 50 to 75% of all doctors' visits are stress related, all of them, because stress, it not only manifests on our mindset, it manifests on the weakest physical parts that we have. In my experience as a massage therapist for so long, how do you feel? I'm stressed. I cannot tell you in a weekly basis how many dozens and dozens of people that I work on say the same exact thing. So how are you doing today? Oh, I'm stressed. This stress is driving me crazy. This stress has me with a migraine. My shoulders are tight. My lower back is aching. I cannot eat. I cannot keep anything in my stomach. Those right there are pure manifestations of stress. And how we handle and how we manage stress can make all the difference of the world. Like something as simple as practicing deep, slow breathing. In my experience with having panic attacks in the past, panic attacks causes stress, shallow breathing will follow, heart rates will go up. And what helps us to maintain on a calmer state is breathing. So the more we practice something as simple and important as breathing, the more help we will have towards ourselves.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned about the stress coming up through the body. And that was something that I came across myself. When it comes to burnout, there's no physical manifestation of burnout. No one can see it. No one can see the symptoms. It's not until you start expressing it that people can understand what you're going through. And it was funny that after I had recovered from burnout and I sprained my ankle at work. And this was the first time that there was a physical symptom of, okay, something over a long period of time, a long period of strain, and not taking care of all that stress and pressure building up, that
Yeah.
it caused an injury. And next thing I was on crutches. I was like, okay, now Eugene's not fit for work. He can not come into work at the moment because he can't drive.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I went to physio for that. And he was like, okay, you can see all the stress that's built up in the ankle where the ligament damage is. You can look at where all the muscle tissue is tight in the calf, up to the thigh, up to the lower back, even up as far as the shoulders and the neck. And he said, all
Right.
this is stress that is built up in your body over a long period of time and has
Wow.
not been relieved. So I found
Mm-hmm.
it fascinating that the pain that was in my shoulders and in my lower back originated from somewhere as far as a misbalance in the ankle. And
That's
even
right.
even something going from your right leg, the pains in your right leg, going to your left leg, because if you're not putting weight on your right leg, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
compensate with the other side of your body. Your body just tries to recalibrate in a way to take the pain or take some of the pain off, but
Yes.
compensate and put more pressure or stress on other areas of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it fascinating then. So in terms of my own self-awareness of stress, I now can use my ankle as kind of like an alarm or an early warning signal that, okay, if my ankle is starting to like throb or if I feel any pain, it's like, okay, I'm not dealing with the stress that's building up in my body.
That's right.
There's lack of circulation or there's muscle tension somewhere that
Mm-hmm.
I need to relieve so that I don't have this pain in my ankle. So
Absolutely.
while it can be annoying at times because it's like, oh, I can't go for a run, or I can't do the exercise, or I can't go for a long walk because I have this pain here. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, but at least it's an early warning signal that, okay, I'm not going to be out of work, or I'm not going to be able to not put any weight on that leg for a while,
Yeah.
because I have this early warning signal that's telling my body that you need to take a break. You need to refill your cup. You need to take a moment to again massage that muscle out, or a warm bath or something, or muscle soak or something, just to help to relieve that tension, and then you can get back to work. Then you can get back to
Absolutely.
enjoying life.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I cannot agree more. The more we are aware of our bodies, we practice this awareness because we are in this body this time our life, and we live in this body, and there's nowhere else we are going. That is a fact for all of us. The more we understand our bodies, because our bodies are always speaking to us, that is a fact. Not only as, I mean, in my career of so many years that I have seen firsthand what stress can cause to people's bodies, but on my own experience with burnout, my first sign of burnout, I remember like it was yesterday. It was like, oh my God, my shoulders are, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable. If I'm sitting on the same chair, I haven't been sitting for a long time, and I'm uncomfortable on my chair. My shoulders are just, wow, so tight. And then from there, it started the full manifestation, because it stress expresses himself on the weakest parts of our bodies. I have cervical scoliosis. I didn't know it back then at that time, but I have cervical scoliosis. So, which with stress, the muscles around the vertebrae got tight. The discomfort started. Then it started to escalate to a dull headache. Then from a dull headache, a migraine. Then from a migraine, I threw up because it took over my stomach. I had some weakness on my stomach as well back in that day. So yes, absolutely. And the more aware we are, the more we practice mindfulness about how to keep on a calm state, how to take that little small warning, like yourself, your ankle starts bothering you. You are aware now that, okay, something is going on. I have to take matters into my hands and do something about it. The same way with my manifestation of stress on my shoulders is like, okay, this is not about me massaging so many people. It's about my body saying, hey, come on over and take some care of me too, because it's very, very much needed. And the more, here we go again, the more awareness of we have of every single detail that it comes to any body ache, the better off we will be. Aches and pains is our body speaking to us, saying that something much bigger may happen if we don't take care of it right now. So please pay attention to your bodies.
That's the thing. People don't see those as the warning signals. As soon as they get that ache or pain, they go straight for the paracetamol or the aspirin or anything to get rid of that pain. They go
Exactly.
straight for, okay, this is the effect I'm feeling. How do I get rid of that effect so that I can carry on living my life? And that's how they market painkillers also. It's like, get rid
Mm-hmm.
of the pain so you can continue enjoying life,
That's
rather
right.
than addressing what is the cause of that pain and how can
Mm-hmm.
I stop this from reoccurring.
That's right. That's right, definitely. And my experience, I'm a mature woman. I'm 58 years old. I'm going through, I mean, a full-blown menopause. That is another one that for women is like, is taboo, is like, you have menopause, your life is basically over. And no, it's not true. It's just a mentality that we go into a certain age and our time to shine is basically over. And here we go again. That's one when burnout comes into play, because, oh my God, I am in perimenopause. I'm in my mid 40s. I have to hurry up and get all of this done, because otherwise, when I turn 50, that's it. I have no more opportunities. And that's when I mean, there is so many reasons to go on a burnout. And for women, that is a big one, because we are in a society that you're supposed to be young like forever, and that is not real. That is not true. That is just an illusion, is a fantasy. Yes, cosmetic surgery can do whatever on people, and good luck with that. But the I mean, the truth of the matter is that our bodies just keep on aging from the inside out. So what are we going to do from the inside out? Have good rest. We are in an era too that sleeping is like a sin. You're not supposed to sleep so much because you're wasting your time. Sleeping is a gem for our lives. Sleeping is imperative to have good quality of life, to very good planning, to de-stress. If you want to avoid symptoms of burnout, do yourself a favor too, and add some more sleep to your schedule. Schedule your sleep accordingly. Your body will thank you later. That is a fact.
Yes, one sleep is definitely something that I started prioritizing the past year, 18 months, because before that, I always thought that, okay, if my health is a bit low, I need to exercise more. And that's where you had the Fitbit and you're always counting how many steps did I do today? And it's like, is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? And you're like, okay, if I did this much activity today, then I must be healthy.
Yeah.
Whereas I switched then to Whoop. Whoop does not look at your steps, doesn't even have a screen. You have all the data if you want to check it later. But
Yeah,
the main one of the main pillars of recovery is your sleep and the quality of that sleep. So
absolutely.
it's more about recovery. So rather
Hmm.
than constantly looking at, oh, did I get my 10,000, 20,000 steps today? It's how did I sleep last night? How
Right.
recovered do I feel? The app is telling me I'm in green, yellow, or red, or yeah, green, yellow, or red. Do I
Hmm.
feel like I'm in green, yellow, or red also? And
Yeah,
if I do feel a bit down, it's like, okay, what things, what factors can I look at today to help improve my recovery for tomorrow? If I want
exactly.
to, and once you're aware then of, okay, I'm more focused at looking at my recovery so that I can
Hmm.
perform better on other things. And
Yes.
maybe part of that recovery is, okay, maybe if I exercise a bit more, get my body moving a bit more, I might sleep better tonight. Or maybe I'm exercising too much, I'm putting too much strain on my body, and that's disrupting my sleep. So
Yes.
it's about having that awareness of what are the priorities in your life in terms of recovery and how you want to perform. We can't perform at 100% all the time. Like
That's right.
athletes, you know, you have to prepare for the season.
Hmm.
You're not performing at your optimal level or sprinting at your optimal level all year round. You're doing all of the preparation work and you're doing all of the
Yes.
training and the technique and the recovery time so that when the big day comes, you can put all your effort, you can go maximum effort on that day or for that
Exactly.
season.
Exactly. You can put all of whatever you practice and train for into full manifestation when that big day come. But the more understanding we have that not every day is going to be the same thing. Not every day you're going to feel the same motivation, inspiration to do these things, especially when it comes on physical activity. Physical activity can be a burden for so many when physical activity is such a blessing and a miracle in our lives, no matter what age we are, from birth to death. Literally, physical activity should be always present because as we age, if something is unavoidable here, our muscle mass will go in decline. Our hormonal systems are constantly changing, and as we keep on aging, muscle mass will go in a decline too. In my experience, because I'm heading to be 59 very soon, whatever muscle mass I have, I keep it as long as possible. That's why I don't even have a weight scale at my home, because if I go into the mentality that I have to have a certain weight to feel better, that is another thing that is another factor that can stress us out, and it will be unavoidable. We will go on a burnout because of overworking ourselves out physically so much and so much and so much, because if we don't reach that number on a scale, many people are slaves are of the weight scale, and it's very hard to live a life like that because our weights are always fluctuating in the course of the day with what we drink, eat, etc. And going back to physical activity is super important, but it's important as well to rest, to relax, because that is when our bodies will go in harmony more than ever, and burnout will definitely be avoided with this mindset.
Yeah, that's a great point there about the weighing skills and a lot of people who are focused on losing weight and they never take like account of what's water weight, what's fat, what's muscle. And
Mhm.
rather than like muscle is, I think they say muscle is like the organ of longevity. And we can determine how long we're going to live based on our muscle mass
Mhm.
or how like our metabolism increases because of how much
Yes.
muscle we have, our muscle mass. And then that makes life a bit more enjoyable. You're not watching every calorie or some people are just like so like intensely focused on, oh, is this drink 2000 or 200 calories rather than being like, okay, do I feel better if I drink this? Is
Exactly.
this going to give me a sugar crash? Is this going to
Mm-hmm.
make this? Is this actually going to hydrate me? Is this
Mm-hmm.
literally just loaded with 500 milligrams of caffeine and I'm going to crash in 2 hours time, or I'm not going to sleep for the next 2 days? And it's like
Exactly.
instead of having those conversations with yourself and seeing like, how is this going to improve my life, or
Mm-hmm.
how am I doing this for enjoyment, and going to accept that this glass of wine might give me a headache tomorrow.
Yeah.
And having those, let's say, conversations with yourself, um, rather than some people just shaming them and guilting themselves for every food decision that they make. And often that
Yes.
just leads to more stress. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's just that buildup of stress in your body, and having those negative conversations and not having kindness and compassion towards yourself, that you're just waging a war against yourself.
That's right. That's right. Yes, there's a phenomenal book that I highly recommend to everybody. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And in my personal life, if there was something that I was horrific at, was my own language towards myself. Oh my God, what is the matter with you? Are you an idiot? It will start with that. Are you stupid? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I just spilled this glass of water so on myself. And self-talk, it makes a whole difference. It's such a powerful thing. And a lot of us people, including myself for a very long time, my self-talk was horrendous. I was a dancer for many, many years. For 30 years, I was a professional dancer. And in the dance environment, there is a lot of body dysmorphia. We always see ourselves like we are overweight and overweight and overweight, that we have to lose some weight here because that other dancer, she's skinnier than me, and I want to be skinnier than anybody. And what I saw in the mirror at that time, it was a whole different story from what it was in my physical body. I have never been overweight in my life. Not even when I was pregnant, I was overweight. For my son, I gained 22 pounds. For my daughter was 24 pounds. And basically, I had a very happy, healthy pregnancies. And I lost the weight immediately, very quickly. I was very lucky and blessed. And this is what happens with people like myself that have body dysmorphia. We see something that is not true. And that's when mindset plays a major role. That's when self-talk plays another major role on how much we're going to succeed on de-stressing ourselves and being more accepting of who we are and what we have, versus going deep down that rabbit hole of I am not enough. What I'm doing is not enough. My workouts are not enough. I am sleeping too much, so because I am not doing enough with my time while I'm awake. And all of these factors can lead us to very dark spaces. And of course, it can lead us to tremendous burnouts that can be avoided in so many ways.
I just turned the mic off there because there's a plane passing overhead, and I was there like, I really hope that this doesn't come true. There's an airport only about like 20 miles from here, so there's
Yeah.
planes passing overhead all the time. But yeah, that body dysmorphia and that body shaming, it was something that was a lot more prominent in the 90s and 2000s. And that was
Mm-hmm.
something that we kind of normalized back then. And
Yeah.
now looking back on it, and like I remember the glossy magazines being like, it's like, oh, this person is after gaining 8 pounds, or they're no longer a size 8 and it's the end of their career. And we look back and we're like, yeah, that was not healthy. That was not healthy
That's
at all.
right.
And we normalized it was because we had conversations around those things that
Mm-hmm.
they became normalized.
Yeah.
And while there's more body positivity and more acceptance nowadays, having these conversations, we're talking a lot about our physical self, or how we look physically. And
Right.
when it comes to mental health, there's still a lot of taboo around mental health conversations. And
Yes.
um, even when I first started talking about mental health on the podcast, people were like, "Oh, you can't talk about that. That's career suicide. You can't talk about those things." And rather than me seeing as okay, they're trying to shut me up here, which they are, that was their own deflection, as I'm not comfortable talking about my mental health. No one talks about that around here, and I don't want to be
Yeah.
aware of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
again, they're the internal conversations that they're having with themselves, that, oh, I'm really stressed right now. or I'm not really happy where I am right now, but I can't say that
Yeah,
because people can turn around and say, well, I've had to live with that for the past 20 years, so you better suck it up. Or
that's right.
it's
Mm,
just that conditioning. It's that conditioning that we grew up with. And it's like any time that you complained, they were like, you have no right to complain. You should be grateful for what you have and
mhm.
just put your head down, keep quiet, and work for the next 20, 30 years. And then you can complain when you're retired. You can
Yeah.
complain and be a negative Nancy all you want once you retire.
Yes, that is so true. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you bring that up. Because I my childhood was in the 70s. I was born in 1965, many, many years ago. And back in that time, mental health, talking about anything that had to do with mental health, mental illness was total, absolute taboo. My own mother, I love my mother, but my mother had chronic, untreated mental illness ever since, my whole entire life. And my mother finally received some help in her late 70s. My mom is 93 now. So it was pretty recent in comparison to all the ordeal that she went through when it comes to mental illness. Back in that day and in Puerto Rican culture, mental illness was practically your life is over kind of mentality and mindset. I had uncles and aunts that they had chronic mental illnesses, and our concept and our mentality about mental illness was this: well, they are in a mental institution, they have problems. Now we fast forward, and I'm so grateful that I am living still on an era that is more accepted, that is much more of an open conversation. But there's still a lot of people out there that where mental illness is like, you don't talk about that. It's like a shh. You don't talk about mental illness because that is not spoken about in this home or in this family or in this environment. And you gotta wait. And you know what? Suck it up. You will be okay. And that is not necessarily the case. And I am very grateful to be in this era as well and be a mother of my daughter that she's 22 years old. She has clinical depression, and we talk about depression openly. How are you doing? Are you doing your medication? How's your therapy? And no, she doesn't tell me everything about her therapy, but the thing that makes me happiest the most is that she is taking matters into her hands, that she is doing her part, that she's finally picking up the tools and using them, because in her whole college life she never did a thing. And when she went to college, it was exactly the year that the pandemic hit, so that hit on her. Her isolation was horrendous. She had suicidal thoughts, and she was open enough to let me know about it so I can help her through it. But I admire this era. I admire and respect and honor the newer generations now even more, because there's more openness about something that in my world, when I was younger, in my 20s, my 30s, it was non-existent. You don't talk about mental illnesses. You don't talk about this because no, that is too delicate, and no, nobody talks about it. So I'm very grateful that these conversations are here now. I'm happy that your mission is so important, and it's a blessing to be here, Eugene. It's my honor to be here, to be able to talk about these very important conversations, definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Blanca. And again, it goes both ways. It won't work unless I have people like you sharing your story here also.
Absolutely,
And give
thank you.
yourself some leeway. We try to normalize the conversations around mental health, breaking the stigma around mental health in the workplace, talking about burnout, overwhelm, stress,
Mhm.
and how we can take small steps to overcome that. But
Exactly.
again, it all comes back to um, when I first started sharing these stories, people were like, "Oh, it's very easy for you to say. We know what you're like. We know you're the kind of guy who gets up at 3 a.m. to go to the gym before a 12-hour shift." And that was because I was an overachiever, and that played
Mhm.
as part in my burnout story also. But it was about setting boundaries as well. But because they knew that side of Eugene, they were like, "Well, you're absolutely psychotic when it comes to work and what you do outside of work. So whatever you did for recovery is probably going to be just as crazy. So there's no point in me even tuning in or listening to anything you have to say because it's probably something that's completely out there. And then I
Mm,
was like, okay, my approach might not suit everyone, but I cannot be the only person who's ever felt this way. I can't be the only person to ever have felt overwhelmed or stress or burnout. I'm pretty
right.
sure that word exists somewhere else on the internet. And maybe
Mm,
there's someone else out there who wants to share their story. And that's why I
yes.
want to create a platform where people can start sharing their stories, normalize the conversation a bit more, and even just bring to other people's awareness.
Hmm.
Even though I got a lot of negative feedback when I started, and people started deflecting their own insecurities about what I was talking about, it got
Hmm.
them thinking at least. At least it planted that seed where they
Oh,
were like,
absolutely.
okay, maybe someone else is talking about this. Maybe I
Hmm.
can relate somewhat to what someone else is saying. And maybe there is help or there is a conversation I can have with someone.
Exactly.
It's not our fault. And I say this a lot because some people say it's your fault wherever decisions you make in your life is basically the life that you make for yourself. And it
Hmm.
all comes back to your actions and your decisions. But we're conditioned in our childhood to different things. Different things are seen as taboo, so we don't talk about them as an adult. Or we have different behaviors, or we develop different triggers that protect us as a child from what we were experiencing. But that no longer applies when we're an adult. And we still
Very
have the
true.
same triggers or the same conditioning as we have as a child. And that no longer serves us in our adult life.
Very
But
true.
we need to
Very true.
overcome that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. And this is a beautiful thing here that you here you are, you're the younger generation, and of course I'm the older generation, but the triggers can go back to one thing, and it's to our childhood and the way we are brought up, the way that we are indoctrinated into doing things in life. And yes, I mean, my experience, I have carried things that I learned from my mother, but I am my own individual. Just because my mother chose to live her life in a certain way, it doesn't have anything to do with how I'm going to live my life, especially as being a mother, because my mother and I, we had, and I am very clear now that her mental illness got in the way of our relationship because she was untreated, because she was chronic. And our relationship was very, very rocky. It was very difficult. It was very unstable, but it was a manifestation of who she was, unstable, being mentally unstable. And fast forward to now, when I became a mother, I said to myself, you know what? The best thing that I can give to my kids is some kind of stability, the stability that I didn't have. And just because my mother raised me in a certain way, that has nothing to do with who I am and with my own mindset. So these are very important conversations to have. And going back to the way you work yourself out and the way that your body is happy with, we are individuals, and maybe someone out there can learn something from Eugene in the form of you being so consistent and so disciplined in what you do. And discipline definitely leads the way to many beautiful things to come in our lives. But at the same time, we cannot be so rigid about it. There's got to be some balance. There's got to be some flow because we are moving, feeling people. Not every day we're going to be feeling the same way. There's some days that I can rock the house and kick ass and I've got this. But there's some days that it's like, I don't know how am I going to get up from this chair. And the less we punish ourselves about this, the better off we will be because if there's something that is so true, is this too shall pass. It always passes. There's always another day, and change is a constant. So don't let your past define who you are or what you will be in the future. Very important for people that have suffered one burnout or many burnouts in life. Let's just keep on learning the lesson. Listen to our bodies, to our minds, and take it from there.
Yeah, that's one thing that has ever since I first heard the story about this too shall pass. And it was around how our life can be 50% miserable, pure misery, and 50% happiness and joyful moments. And it always got me thinking, okay, this too shall pass. When it ever came to the misery, it's like, okay, this is just a spell. It's going to pass. It might take a day or might take a week or a month to overcome this grief, but it will pass in time. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, but then you have to think the same about all your happy thoughts and all the joy. And it's like, oh, this isn't going to last forever. But then that makes you more grateful of the joyful moments. It's like, I know this isn't going to last forever, so I'm going to be fully present and live in this joyful moment and
Absolutely.
have that memory of this joyful moment. Because it
Hmm.
will help me through the misery as well. Because I'd be like, okay, I might not always have this joyful moment, but I won't always have that miserable moment either. I just have to work through that, give myself some
Exactly.
space, take a step back, take a deep breath,
Hmm.
and just reevaluate. It's like, okay, it's like, is this going to last forever? No. Is this like I'm going to spend the next 5 years in complete misery? No. And
Exactly.
it's just about reframing. And
Hmm.
it's sometimes people, and I've come across this where people have been living in a state of misery for so long that it's become the new normal, or
Oh
it's
my God,
become the new
yes.
comfort.
Hmm.
And whenever someone tries to bring joy into their life, they are so stuck in that state of misery, or so comfortable with that misery loop, that they reframe the situation in that negative loop. They're like,
That's
oh,
right.
this is a happy moment, but it's not going to last. So I better not get too comfortable with this, or I better not bring too much of this into my life before it gets taken away.
Right. Right. So true. So true. I come from a very large family. On my father's side, it was 8 brothers and sisters, and on my mother's side, it was 9 brothers and sisters. So you can imagine there's an ocean of cousins all over the place. And as much as I have cousins that are wonderful, amazing people, they are chatty, they are happy, they have this zest for life that is like, wow, I want to be like this person. And then there's the other realm of the family that it's like a friend of mine says, this lady, she says, there's just some people that are not happy unless they're miserable. Well, there you go. That is the other group of people that no matter how much of a happy moment everybody is having, no matter how much of a happy moment this person is enjoying, they're looking for that happiness to come to an end because I got to go back, like you just said, to my comfort zone, to what I know, which is being miserable, in pain, because misery leads to physical pain, because the emotional and mental pain is there. Obviously it has taken over. The physical pain will just, I mean, it will be like this domino effect that yes, you will have a lot of misery in life, rather than how about get out of your comfort zone for a little bit and experience joy for the simplest things in life. For me, I experience a lot of joy every single time when I go for a walk into nature. There's always something new to hear. There's always something new to see. There's always some beautiful thing that Mother Nature offers us that is just these small miracles that we have the honor to admire. We have this home that we call Earth, and it's a beautiful place where to live at, as long as we do believe that it's a beautiful place to live at, regardless of what's going on, regardless of the wars, because as long as there's humanity, there's war. And that is a fact. This goes thousands of years back. But on the other hand, as much as we experience stress, as much as we experience anxiety, sadness, hate, grief, we can experience love, joy, happiness, inspiration, motivation. Especially, I mean, you can learn something from a little kid all the way to the oldest person. I'm totally aware and open to that. And it's a joy to see the younger generations, how hard you all work. It's admirable. To me, it's a beautiful thing. I'm always learning from all of the younger generations. I mean, I have a teacher that he's only 33 years old. I'm old enough to be his mother, and I'm still learning from him. I'm learning from my own kids because they're amazing. And I'm learning even from you, Eugene. So this is a beautiful thing. So please, to all those people that are not happy unless they're miserable, listen up. Smile. Bring some joy into your own life. It's a beautiful thing. Watch some comedy. It's a good thing.
Yeah, there's when it comes to watching comedies, yeah, sometimes it can be a matter of acquired taste, especially I think Irish and British comedy can be very different to American comedy a lot of the
Oh
time.
yeah.
So
So
and I've
true.
become aware of that as I travel internationally. I'm like, okay, I can't crack the same jokes in when I'm abroad as when I can crack at home.
So true. So true. I agree. I agree.
So Blanca, uh, you said yeah, you mentioned there about as a massage therapist, you're also a canine massage therapist.
Yes, yes, I am a certified canine massage therapist. And this is very important to all dog lovers out there. Canine massage is not petting the dog. Canine massage is not rubbing the dog. Canine massage is massage. The three biggest reasons why our dogs deserve massage. First of all, they put up with our crap on a daily basis. Second of all, massage therapy improves quality of life. I do human massage therapy for almost 20 years. I've been doing canine massage therapy for almost 9 years. And canine massage and human massage, very similar. We are mammals, humans and dogs alike. We have muscle mass, organs, we have feelings, we have emotions. Yes, our doggies have emotions too. And the most important part about canine massage, dogs are not just dogs, they're family and they deserve to have as much as good quality of life as we do. Canine massage therapy is a very ancient practice from 2700 BC. It was created in China, went to India, and in China and India, they believe in good health, not only for humans, but their animals as well. Julius Caesar used to have a massage therapist when he went to war. His massage therapist will do massage therapy on his war dogs. They were very ferocious and vicious. The Roman Empire, I mean, it dates from all the way back to the Roman Empire when there was animal massage. Here in the Americas, and any kind of animal massage therapy came into the 70s when the introduction of equine massage was here. And then right after canine massage therapy came in is a practice here in the US that not a lot of people are too aware of, but it's equally powerful. And I see the difference on all of my doggy clients. Well, they're not my clients, I'm their auntie, but I see the difference on their lives and how can the lives can improve, especially with my senior dogs. I mean, all the way to the end of life, how much they improve, how much more quality of life they have, how much they're more healthier, or their health is extended for more time thanks to this beautiful practice that I have the honor to do.
And the reason why I wanted to bring it up, especially when you mentioned canine massage therapy, is because I feel that when people let's say the way we're conditioned by how our parents have treated us in our childhood and how that plays effect in our lives. I think the same happens with our pets. So
Yes.
whatever way we are at home, or the stress and the way that we carry ourselves, that also affects the relationship not only with our partner, our friends, our kids, but also our pets. So
Mm-hmm.
you probably, let's say, a dog's temperament or how a dog feels around other people is going to be influenced by how their owner treats them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. You want to know something about a human? Check out how their dog behaves. I am not kidding you. The dog is the reflection of the owner. This is proven scientifically even that the dog is the reflection of the owner. When I'm in my culture, at least back in the day, the dog belonged outside. The dog was never inside. Many dogs were chained. is horrible. I always found it so horrific. Of course, I was a little girl. I had no comprehension of much of anything. But as I kept on maturing and getting more into massage therapy, and when I finally had the joy and the blessing of becoming a canine massage therapy, I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea on how to really treat a dog. And that is my truth. I am saying it openly because we have so much to learn from our pets. It's amazing. The first thing that us humans should learn from our pets is unconditional love and how happy they are to see us. No matter how angry, sad, grumpy we are, they will always see us with the same eyes of love, the same compassion, because they are compassionate animals. There's why there is so many pets that are service animals. They're service animals that they detect sicknesses now. It's so powerful. And don't, I mean, please, to all of our pet lovers out there, never underestimate your animal. Take care of your animal like you take care of yourself. And many people that I have met, they take care of their animals more better than they take care of themselves. So please take care of your animal, because your animal, if there's the most purest love can anyone can experience, is the love of an animal.
Yeah, that it's just something that again, it was just on my radar as well about how people because I know a lot of people, instead of having kids nowadays, they just have their fur babies. They
That's
have
right.
and they have all their dogs. But again, it's just seeing the temperament of they're like, oh, some people they treat their dogs as like, oh, that's the farm dog, that's the outside dog, and then they
Yeah,
have the house dog. And it's just like, why do
exactly.
you treat the dogs differently? Do you treat your kids
Exactly.
differently?
That's right. That is right. Oh yes, absolutely. I have seen dog owners that is like, no, those two they belong outside because that's what they like, and then the other one likes to be inside. It's like, well, what makes you? Why do you come to the conclusion just because the dog likes to go outside? It doesn't mean that the dog wants to live a life outside without being, not being unattended for or anything, because dogs and us humans, we share something that is very, very important, and is touch. The I mean, this is the most similar action that we have compared to dogs, is the sense of touch. We, us and puppies, the first sensation that we have as newborns is touch. More than vision, more than anything else, is the sense of touch. So we are, yes, we are touchy feely people, just like animals are. We have emotions just like dogs do. We have feelings just like dogs do. So please, if you want to know more about the dog or more about the owner, just compare, see them interacting, and you will know everything there is to know. Yes.
And if people want to learn more about you, Blanca, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Oh, of course, of course. I am social media. I am in Instagram, Wounded Healer Blanca E. I am in Facebook as well, Wounded Healer Blanca E. And you can get a hold of me through my website, www.woundedhealer.us. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. And as you can see, I am an open book. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Blanca. It was such a great story.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor.